UVA Community Credit Union is a member-owned, not-for-profit financial cooperative that has proudly served Central Virginia since 1954. Our primary mission is to promote financial wellness and focus on people, not profits, by supporting the needs of our members and investing in the communities we call home. Learn more at uvacreditunion.org. Welcome to our Raising Money Smart Kids series. In this video, we will cover topics to help you teach core financial subjects to middle school learners. So, middle school is a great time to expand on previous concepts that we've discussed and introduce new tools to reinforce key money management topics. For information on foundational subjects we've already discussed, I encourage you to watch our early learners and elementary learners videos. So, we're going to start building on all those concepts that we previously discussed. So, to build on our earning and sharing concepts, maybe put your kids in charge of a fundraising activity, such as selling baked goods, the old classic lemonade stand, or even hosting a garage sale. These can be fun, hands on ways to introduce real world business and money concepts, and a nice way to help them raise money for an organization or cause they believe in. Start by showing them how to maximize their earnings. Talk about trying to create flyers, signs, decorations to grab attention, a little sneaky introduction of marketing concepts. Encourage them to make it inviting by showing a clean and organized space. Teach them how to increase value and boost sales through add on items. Like if they are selling lemonade, pair that with a cookie or bundling small toys or books at a garage sale to make the most of those dollars. Work together to set prices. This is a great time for you to kind of explain depreciation, how items lose value over time, how to price items based on their condition and how long their lifespan is. Guide the kids in deciding what's fair, but what might still be appealing to buyers. So, by involving your child in these small ventures, you're not just keeping them busy, you're teaching them valuable lessons about work, money, and decision making that will last a lifetime. Middle school is also a great time to reinforce that allowance concept and what is expected of them. As you review your child's allowance, talk about what they are expected to cover in terms of maybe are they going to be paying for their snacks, outings with friends, gifts for friends. Set clear expectations of what might fall under the boundaries of a purchase that they would cover or what the family is still covering. If they run out of allowance or ask for an advance, consider their request. But if they do ask for that advance, treat it as a loan. Make it clear it will be deducted from their next payment and emphasize that borrowing against future allowance should be occasional and not a habit. This helps them understand the consequences of overspending and maybe not planning ahead. Encourage them to track their spending. So, whether they're using a notebook, an app, a spreadsheet, keeping records helps them see where their money is going and where they can make better choices. You can take it a step further by having them create simple budgets for real events, like if they're going to do back to school shopping, or maybe have them plan an activity day on the next family vacation. This gives them practice of planning, making trade-offs, and prioritizing based on a set amount of money. So basic budgeting skills. By involving them, you're giving them the tools to, lay the foundation for lifelong budgeting and financial habits. So we're also going to start talking to them about credit. And this may seem a little bit early, but this is really just laying the foundation for financial responsibility. By introducing the concept now, you can help them just understand how borrowing works and why good credit matters in the real world. We're going to keep it simple. Start with the difference between a debit card and a credit card. Explain that The debit card uses their own money from the bank account, and a credit card lets them borrow money and you repay that later. Make sure they understand that when you repay money from your credit card, if you do not pay it in full, you owe additional money. So you're paying back interest. You may say, hey, if you borrow $100 now on this credit card and don't pay it back right away, you will be charged interest. Sometimes this is a convenience fee for borrowing, and it's a price we pay if we don't repay the debt quickly. Just keeping it as simple as possible. Connect this to the concept of your credit report. You can also kind of talk about how you're also graded on how well you manage your credit, how well you pay your bills. A good credit report is just like a good report card. You want to get A's, and it gives you more opportunities. You'll have lower interest rates, you'll be able to borrow more money, and you may even, uh, if you have poor credit, miss out on qualifying for an apartment, a job, or something more important if you're not managing your funds well. So, by just kind of teaching them how credit works now, you're setting them up to make smarter financial decisions later. It's just giving them that knowledge so they'll keep it in their brain and hopefully use that wisely when the time comes. Middle school is a great time to help your kids open their own savings account. This provides a safer place for them to save, reinforces the importance of saving regularly, and introduces basic banking concepts, laying the foundation for using additional financial tools later on, such as a checking account. So, around this time, your kids also usually have a little bit loftier savings goals than they did in elementary school. I believe around this time it was, middle school, my son, that he had started really wanting an Xbox. So to incentivize his savings, we offered to match his funds. So if he saved up 150, we would match that to help him achieve his goal. This matching concept obviously is going to start to lay the groundwork for employer retirement savings plans matching and other savings concepts that we want to hit on as they grow. And along the line of saving lessons, we are going to begin to introduce the concept of the stock market. Start with what they know. Use familiar brands like Nike, Disney, etc., and explain that companies sell shares of ownership in their companies called stocks that people can buy. Describe the stock as a tiny piece of the company, and when people buy the company, they hope that it grows so their stock becomes more valuable. You're also going to introduce the concept of risk and reward. Teach them that stock values can go up or down. So there is a risk, but over time, by investing wisely, hopefully your money will grow. Explain ways to reduce risk by investing in different companies and different industries. It's the don't put all your eggs in one basket concept. You really want to bring that home and talk about how they can avoid total loss through diversification. You can make it fun by using a simulation or a game like the virtual stock market game or app designed for kids. They let them buy or sell stocks with fake money while tracking market data. You can also do it yourself by quote unquote giving everyone in the family $1,000 to invest for 6 months, have them pick their stock or stocks, and track the value weekly as a family to show the market ups and downs and kind of see how everybody's doing. And it becomes a kind of fun, competitive thing to do. Now, this is a basic introduction. We're going to skip complex terms like dividends, EFTs, short selling. We're just focusing on the basics. And investor.gov has some great resources to help you teach kids about stock in an age appropriate way. So I encourage you to visit their resource center as well. So one of the most important money lessons you can teach your middle school child is the opportunity cost. The idea that when you choose one thing, you're giving up the chance to do something else with that money. Helping kids recognize trade-offs builds smarter decision making, especially, when they're constantly bombarded by ads and peer pressure. So start with the basics. If they spend $10 on snacks every week, that's $40 a month that they can't use for something bigger that they may really want, like, new headphones or a school trip. That's opportunity cost in action. Choosing one option means giving up another. Use real life examples to make it stick, like talk about foregoing small purchases now for something more important later. Maybe they skip buying a toy today to save up for a concert ticket next month. So, the idea, of course, is to get them to start thinking long term. You also want to talk about advertising and influencers. Teach them how brands use ads, big splashy ads, social media influencers, and even product placement in TV shows and games and online ads to make them feel like they need something, often without even realizing it. Talk to them about how some products are fluffed and exaggerated to make them seem more valuable or, exciting than they really are. This is a good time to revisit the name brand versus generic concept. You can, try the taste test game again and reinforce how brands are often priced higher because of logo placement, celebrity endorsement, and other factors, but the quality is not necessarily better. And introduce comparison shopping. Show them how to check for prices at different stores, read online reviews, and make sure that you're doing business with reputable vendors. It was around this time, too, that my son kept, seeing like, hey, these Nike shoes are on sale for, $20. That's not a realistic price point for that. And by researching the website and the ad, you can easily find out that those things are fake. So just, have those conversations with them. And of course, talk about how their friends' opinions can affect their spending decisions, peer pressure, right? Help your child feel comfortable and confident in making choices that reflect their goals, not just what's popular and what all their friends are doing. So, we're going to try and tie all these ideas together just to give them the tools to think critically about how they spend and what they might be giving up for that spend during the process. So, we also know tweens and teens live and die by their devices, and this can be a constant battle. So, it's important to set the ground rules early, lay that foundation. At this age, I remember the big push was to try and get devices. They try and sneak them in while they're sleeping at night. That's a big no-no. We don't want to let them sleep with those phones or devices. Check the app settings to make sure they're not oversharing information. Those privacy settings are often set to share with everyone. So it's important that you kind of know what apps they're on, how the privacy settings are set, and set the ground rules. Have a candid conversation about online predators and some of the ways that they attempt to lure kids into sharing personal information, like where they go to school, where they live, where they might be, send pics, things like that. It's a difficult discussion to have, but it's really important. And the consumerftc.gov and CISA.gov have some really good resources on keeping teens and tweens safe online. So I highly encourage you to visit those websites just to dig in a little bit deeper. But you also want to make sure that you're discussing which social media apps they're able to use and what the consequences are if they are not holding up their end of the agreement. Um, just starting these conversations about online safety early helps them make smarter decisions, learn to protect themselves, and hopefully feel more empowered in an increasingly digital world. So, kind of all of these things that we've talked about It's a lot of information, but we want to reinforce these. And one of the things that you can use, one of the tools is video format. So we have a fun video series called It's a Money Thing. Each 3-minute video tackles important financial concepts in kind of an engaging way. So I encourage you to visit uvacreditunion.org and visit our financial wellness center to find, links to each of the video series. They're kind of bundled into different topics. For example, we have a whole section on saving and investing that includes compound interest, decoding crypto, how to pay yourself first. We have a section on credit that talks about how credit scores work, predatory lending, what to look for when you're borrowing money. There's also other topics on managing risk, spotting scams, which a lot of teens and tweens are actually targeted by, particularly common scam is, of course, the lost pet scam, where people ask for help finding a pet and either try to steal information or grab kids or do something, get them to meet somewhere. It's pretty common, so you want to make sure they're protected and know how to spot these things early on. There's also a video series on earning, spending basics, and just much more. So the It's a Money Thing series just has so much quality content. I encourage you to check that out and stay tuned for our next video on high school students.